Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a while since I have posted an episode of Ball Dominant. I think it's been about 2 weeks, but today I came across something interesting that I would like to talk about. Who are my top 25 players in the National Basketball Association under the age of 25? Now, we're going to get some concerns in, or we're going to have a disclaimer real fast just to say they have to be under the age of 25. So guys like Luka Doncic, guys like SGA, who are 25 years old, they will not be in this list. So guys like Anthony Edwards, Victor Wembanyama, John Morant, Paolo Banchero, you can see these guys in this list. Okay, so we're going to be breaking this list into 5 tiers. We have tier 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There will be 5 players in every tier, and we're going to be breaking down every tier as such. And before we get started, I just want to say that the league is in great hands. The league is in phenomenal hands. When we look back at it and we look at this transition between last era superstars and this era superstar now, we have guys like Luka Doncic, who has given us 70 points. Victor Wembanyama, who gave us a triple-double with 10 blocks. Jason Tatum, who scored 51 points in Game 7, the most points in Game 7 history. Jamal Murray and Donovan Mitchell having a epic historical duel in the bubble. There are plenty of things that we can look at and be like, we are in really good hands when it comes to the NBA. We can talk about Anthony Edwards and how he's really like the guy that's going to make kids now fall in love with basketball. Back in our era, it was LeBron and Kobe. When we came up, we saw Kobe Bryant play. We saw LeBron James play, and that really made us fall in love with the game. I could see guys like Anthony Edwards, John Morant, Victor Wembanyama. These type of guys are going to be those guys who are like, wow, this guy is really making me love the game. So in my tier 1 of top 25, under 25, we have Victor Wembanyama, Anthony Edwards, Paolo Banchero, John Morant, and Tyrese Halliburton. Now, when I look at the order, yes, Victor Wembanyama is number 1, and I'm going to tell you why. I think Victor Wembanyama has the potential to be the best player in the league, and he can be the best player in the league by year 6, year 7 mark, where he's about, let's say, 26, 27 years old. He's in full Defensive Player of the Year lock threat, MVP type player, scoring champ type player, 40% from 3 type player. This is the type of player that we have never seen before. This is a player that can be a scoring champ, an MVP, a Defensive Player of the Year, a Finals MVP, and a MVP, or a Finals MVP and a champion, all in the same year. And you don't get that type of player every year. You do not get that type of player. Those type of players do not come around often, and it's his physical gift that puts him in that scenario. I think when we watched Victor Wembanyama this season, we really saw him progress 3 seasons in one. And I think a lot of people are going to say that's crazy, but if you were really watching him and you really watched his progressions from week 1 to week 10 to week 20 in the NBA, you could really see like, okay, now his ball handling is getting a little better. Now he's a little bit more focused on defense. Now his footwork is a lot better. Now he's not rushing shots. And I think this year too is going to be the ultimate test for Victor Wembanyama. Now we have a full 82 game sample size on how to guard him. Now we have a full 82 game sample size of what his tendencies are like, what spots he's cold from, what spots he's hot from. And the way he's going to respond this season is really going to prove me right or wrong on if I think he can be the best player in the NBA one day. And then as for the other 4, Anthony Edwards, Paolo Banchero, John Morant, Tyrese Halliburton, these guys are bona fide number 1s. I still think John Morant is a number 1 on a championship team. The way he is able to attract defenses downhill, the way he is able to play make, the way he has been a leader to a high quality Memphis Grizzlies team in the past 3 seasons in the NBA, phenomenal. The way he is able to perform in the playoffs, I think he averaged 27, 5, and 5 under the age of 23. That is an elite status. That is an elite status for an undersized guard like John Morant. My only concern with John Morant is what is going to be his plan B, basically, when the athleticism does start to take a dive, because we've seen athletic guards like Derrick Rose, Russell Westbrook, John Wall, to where Ja Morant could be one injury away from falling a tier or two down because the athleticism is what makes his game so special. I would love to see him get more of an outside shot. I know it's a very small sample size, but in these past few games that he played this season, he only shot under 30% from three. Now, I am looking for that to get a lot better. There are moments where Ja Morant can be a very knockdown shooter, but there are also moments where Ja Morant can be very cold from three. And then when we look at a guy like Paolo Banchero, who showed me so much this playoff run, he averaged 27 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 45% from the field, and 40% from three. And we truly saw how unguardable Paolo Banchero can really be when his game starts to fully develop. When I saw him switched on to George Niang, he used his ball handling skills and his creativity to really get open shots when there's a guy who may be the same height as you, may be around the same weight as you. He is able to work around that. When there are guys who are more lengthier than him, he is able to put a shoulder in their chest and get a bucket that way. And he was hitting his outside shot. Ja Morant's three-point percentage increased by 7% from regular season to playoff time. And you could tell this guy is a winner. This guy plays solid defense. He's a very switchable type player to where he can guard the one on the perimeter and he can guard a four down low. I've saw some possessions where he has played very good defense against Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, and I've also seen him play very good defense against a guy like Jared Allen or Evan Mobley. And then the last two people who we've got more of a full playoff run or more full than Paolo Banchero, and that's Anthony Edwards and Tyrese Halliburton. Anthony Edwards is one of those guys where he kind of revives a franchise. And when I mean revives a franchise, not just as it being a winning team, but he revives the entire franchise to the point where he can put this franchise on the map long after he's gone. Because he is one of those NBA players with the swagger and the hype and the gameplay to where this franchise is going to be remembered as the franchise that drafted Anthony Edwards. This franchise is going to be remembered as the franchise that kept Anthony Edwards throughout his entire career, and Anthony Edwards ended up becoming a crazy successful player. Anthony Edwards is the type of player that 10 years down the line after Anthony Edwards retires, they're going to be like, man, when are we going to be lucky enough to bring in another Anthony Edwards? I think he's that special of a player. And to be this young, to be 22 years old, to come in and play the game that he plays, and to be the guy he is on and off the court, to be the leader he is on the court, to be 22 years old and to be confident in yourself, to be the number one option on Team USA, and then carry it out the very next game and be the leading scorer off the bench on a team full of guys like Steph Curry, LeBron James, Jason Tatum, Devin Booker. It's astounding. It's astounding. There are so many former MVPs on that team, but who is the guy that is the leading scorer for Team USA? It's Anthony Edwards. And we're talking about 3 players in my top 5 who can be some of the best two-way players in the NBA. And this is something that you get a lot more often nowadays as role players. Guys like OG Anunoby, guys like Drew Holiday, guys like Derek White. These guys can come in and be two-way players, but we do not see a lot of NBA superstars who are real two-way players. There are guys like Giannis, but other guys like Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic, SGA is a solid defender, but you wouldn't ask him to guard the number one option on another team. These are guys in Paolo, Anthony Edwards, and Victor Wembanyama who can give you 35 in a playoff game and then come back and lock up the best player. We've seen Anthony Edwards take the Jamal Murray assignment. We've seen Victor Wembanyama go toe-to-toe with Nikola Jokic, Anthony Davis, Joel Embiid, night in and night out, and give it his all every single night from somebody who is 19 years old. That is amazing. And the part of me that really wanted to make this video was just to say that please do not lose faith on our young guys. Do not lose faith on our young guys. We have lost guys not lost, but we have moved on, or we're on our way to moving on from guys like LeBron James, Steph Curry, James Harden, Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook, Paul George, DeMarcus Cousins. These guys are on their way out the league, but we have so much talent coming in. If we look at the 2025 draft class in Cooper Flagg, Ace Bailey, we look at guys like Victor Wembanyama, Matas Buzelis, Jared McCain. There are so many young players, and I'm not saying Matas Buzelis and Jared McCain and all those guys are going to be at Victor Wembanyama's level, but there are so many young players in the NBA. Think about the guys who are older than 25. And as SGA and Jason Tatum and Luka Doncic. These guys are going to be around for the next 10 plus years, and it's so exciting to think about. If we just think about Ja Morant versus Anthony Edwards in a 7-game series for the next 8 years, it's going to be cinema. It's going to be cinema. If we just look at the rivalry that's already slowly being built with Chet Holmgren and Victor Wembanyama. Let's also think about the rivalry of Luka Doncic and Devin Booker. This is going to only get better. It's going to only get better when there's a bigger stage involved. All right, and the very last player I want to talk about in my tier 1 of NBA players under 25. This is going to be a continuing series. We're just going to talk about the first 5. So, we're just going to talk about the first 5. And then the very next episode is going to be tier 2, then tier 3, then tier 4, then tier 5. And then it's going to be dropping probably 5 days straight because I need content and I need to stretch it out because it's the off season. You guys know what it is. Anyway, Tyrese Halliburton. Now, when we look at Tyrese Halliburton, he might be a top 5 playmaker in the NBA. Just the way he is able to affect a lot of games without scoring 25 plus. And I feel like that's what makes Tyrese Halliburton so special. We look at what Tyrese Halliburton was able to put up. I think it was 24 and 12. He shot great in the the in-season tournament. He had 2 back-to-back games where he had 15 assists with 0 turnovers. It was, 2 back-to-back games with 27 points. The back-to-back games he had 13 points, 15 assists, 0 turnovers in either one. And he was able to make the big shots. He was talking crazy to Damian Lillard. He beat the Celtics and the Bucks on his way to losing to the Lakers. It was phenomenal. It was phenomenal. Now, do I think he's going to be able to be a 27 and 13 type of guy? No, but that's a lot to ask. I think realistically, Tyrese Halliburton throughout his career can be a 23 and 12 type of player. Now, the difference I have between him and guys like Paolo, Ja, and Vic is being a number 1. I do not think Tyrese Halliburton has the scoring to be the number 1 player. Now, he is a very gifted scorer. He can give you 30 points a night. He can give you 30 points, but do I think he can give you 30 points a night? No, but do I think he could be a very complimentary point guard and probably the best number 2 in the league if he had a true superstar next to him? Yes. If he played next to Giannis Antetokounmpo, those are championship favorites in my opinion. If he played next to guys like Jason Tatum or Nikola Jokic or Joel Embiid, that props these teams up to being championship level teams because you have a point guard who can not only affect the game when he's not hitting his jump shot, but when he is hitting his jump shot, it is almost impossible to beat them. It's almost impossible to beat them. So this is why I like Tyrese Halliburton in my tier 1 conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for my very first tier 1 episode of the top 25 players under 25 years old. I will be posting part 2 tomorrow. If you guys like this type of content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm out. Peace.